So to get into this video, I just wanted to say that it's going to be about shading, where you shade in pencil. The first thing that I did, I started off with doing a box warm up, where I went from light to dark. And to make sure that you understand the contrast of colors from light to dark, I also did it from dark to light. And you'll see that when I do the box warm up, I did it from the lightest shade of light to the darkest shade of light, and then the lightest shade of dark, and then the darkest shade of dark. And why I did this is because I wanted you to see that as we go along, you'll notice that it gets darker each time, and I wanted to stick with that. The next thing which I did was basically a penguin drawing, where I forgot what the penguin was called, but I pretty much shade over the details in like a demonstration for what not to do, because I wanted that to be very clear. And that in that warm-up penguin drawing, I made sure that I shaded half of it light and then half of it dark, and to show you that there are two shading tones which I've done. But later on you'll see the difference of why I did the warm-up penguin sketch and why I did the actual penguin sketch. And yeah, you'll notice that when I am shading, that I'm trying my best to shade in pencil, that how paper's white, and then also when there's white on the object is when the sun actually shines on the object and it gives a highlight effect, and that's not what I want to do in this video. And then in the actual penguin drawing, I tried to be very intentional, where I included all the shading tones which I talked about earlier, from the lightest shade of light until the darkest shade of dark. And it's in the box example which I showed near the start of the video, and to say that all of it will actually be in the video somewhere, and I'll put it somewhere where it's very obvious for you to see it. And in the actual drawing, you'll notice that there are different shading tones, that how it is going to be used in like the penguin drawing, and you'll see the difference between the actual one versus the warm-up one. And when you are shading, just to not overwhelm you too much, I was going to say that when you were younger, if you remember, colouring in a book is not as overwhelming as you may think it is, versus just shading in, just trying to make sure it's like the right amount. And when I am shading, to get the effect which you see in this video, I shade as closely as possible to reduce all the gaps you may see on paper, like the white gaps you may see on paper when you are drawing. So I just wanted to make that I want that to be like very important to you, like if you do any drawings you do in the future. And at the end of the video, I'll include how long it took me to do each different thing.